All right, hello there, folks. Wanted to go along with this trend that's been just taking over Twitch, taking over YouTube recently. Pack openings. People are crazy about the Yu-Gi-Ohs and the Pokemons and so on. Pack openings, Magic cards, and so on. It is apparently Pokemon Week, which is an event thrown by Ludwig and a bunch of other streamers to try and raise money for charity and to support a Melee tournament, free Melee, and so on. And it's all the rage. So I just wanted to try and jump in on that. Today I'll be opening up a pack here to see what we get. This is from 2020, so it's been around for a while. You probably can't see that small writing, but we've got 2020 is the vintage on this. It would be interesting to know if it was early 2020 or whether there's potentially like COVID in here. It looks like this was packaged both in Ontario, where I am now, but potentially manufactured in Kentucky as well. But this is the Bicycle first edition standard set playing cards, and we're just going to take a look at what we got in here. To let people know kind of ahead of time, the really good cards, the ones that you're looking to pull, there's a series of face cards. So each of the packs is guaranteed to contain at least 12 of those. The aces used to not be in favor back in the 1700s, but now they are definitely really popular and really valuable ones. So here, just out of the shrink wrap, you can see the seal still intact. I don't think this is a repack. I think we're okay. We haven't been scammed or anything. Sealed by the U.S. Playing Card Company. It's got to be equivalent to Wizards of the Coast or something. So we will open that seal up and take a look at what's going on. Gonna want to be careful. You know, don't want to bend or ruin any of the corners or anything. So clean there. And have them come out. Now there's a bit of a card trick with this, as there is with most of like the Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh packs, where you take a certain number and you would pull them and put them in front. For this, basically the card trick is just to randomly shuffle them together. That's definitely the way to go. So right off the bat, there's two bicycle cards. One will tell you to get in the game and tries to convince you to follow bicycle playing cards, which is strange that everything needs to have you follow it on like social media or something these days. It would never occur to me to follow a playing card company, but in case you want to, apparently there they are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I kind of wonder now what's on their YouTube channel. Probably some sort of tutorial for games. So that's it. Can't remember the rules. So you can learn rules if you go to this website. That's excellent. These are very useful cards. These were kind of placed as like box toppers on each of these packs. So those in pretty good condition here. And now let's get to the heart of it and see what we got in our pack. This 10 of clubs. So it looks like we got pretty good rounding on the corners. These ones are supposed to be round, not too crisp. Nice surface. I think we got pretty good centering here. I would definitely rate this a 10. 10 of clubs. So that is one. This one we've got a 9. So that is just one below the previous 10, the 10 of clubs, but also in the same suit. They say that these suits are somewhat meant to represent the seasons, and I'm not sure how true that actually is, but there are 4 of them, and so it kind of works out. And there are 52 cards that come in a deck, although there are some bonus cards. As you could see, the box toppers we just had are definitely a part of that. And here's actually one of the extras. I'll flip that one over, and we can see kind of the artwork on this. It really appears to be a king riding a bicycle. as opposed to a Joker. He very much resembles one of the kings. He's got a lot of kind of upper body armor on in this, but seems like he's still managing with the bicycle. The rock on the bottom seems to say 808. So I don't know if that's some sort of speaker or something, but either way, that's there. So the Joker was kind of in the middle of our little club run. We've got another 7 of clubs. Clubs are really good when you need to hit things. The 6 of clubs, if you had these ones in order, that would actually be a really excellent hand in things. And that 6 looks pretty good quality. We're getting down to a 5 here now, and you can actually see that one of the best features of this deck is that it can be upside down or right side up. But when you get an odd number, obviously one of the figures will have to point one way or another. And you'll either have 2 up and 3 down, or 3 down and 2 up. There's one important exception to that, and we'll potentially see that later on, and I'll try and remember. Oh, this is great. We've got another Joker. This one I think is a bit of a reverse, or a reverse hollow. It looks a little shiny. The other one, as you could see, had some coloring to it. This one, though, you've just got the black and white artwork. He still is being followed by an 808 rock. But yeah, just the beauty artwork. This potentially is an error card because that is a king riding a bike as opposed to a Joker riding a bike. Maybe he's like a king that's been deposed or something. But you would think that they would take his crown away at that point. Now the next one, this is often the signature card. Here we get Bicycle 808. This is the Ace of Spades. This one, only one symbol, only one right way up. We've got the text on the bottom here. The United States Playing Card Company, made in the USA, 4120 A1653H. And that's a registered trademark for Bicycle. This is where you often see some of the best artwork. This is held up as kind of the best one of this whole set. So this is really the thing you want, and it's amazing that we got it this early in the pack. You can always breathe a sigh of relief once you've got your Ace of Spades out of the way. And I'm actually I think we're gonna take that one and make sure nothing happens to it. We'll just keep that there. So you always want to put those in the hard case when you can. The Ace of Spades, not only the best card, but one of the best songs on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. The 4 of clubs, so we had a little bit in the way there, and we're continuing with our club set. Then jumping to the 2 of spades. This one obviously comes either right after or on the polar end of the Ace of Spades, depending on what game you're playing. Now, the 2 has a special significance in that it goes well with other 2s, but it's also the lowest even prime number. Well, the only even prime number, to be honest, and the lowest of all the primes, because 1 doesn't actually count. This next one is the next highest prime number, which is 3. And if you had, say, that Ace of Spades, 2 of Spades, and 3 of Spades, you're really well on your way to something. The 4 of Spades here. This one, again, we do have a nice symmetry on the artwork that either way, we're going to have 2 of the Spades pointing up and 2 of the Spades pointing down. So far, we've only seen the black cards, and I'm led to believe that each of the packs contains about half black and half red. So we'll probably get to some red a little bit later on. Here we got the 5 of Spades. If you were able to put those together, you could actually have a really, really good hand. The Ace of Spades all the way to the 5. I actually have a bit of a visual aid over here that you want things of the same suit in order, and that is generally good. Here we get the 6 next. This one is really great. Here they had to defect the most, that you can either have 4 up and 1 down, or 2 down, or the other way around with 2 up and 4 down. It's hard to split the difference between the 2. You don't want an asymmetry on left and right there. So I really like the artwork on that. The 6 itself is great in that The 6 upside down is a 9, but which could be confusing, but it's very clear by the number of symbols here that you've got 6. They don't count the tiny one in the corner, of course. The 3 of clubs, we're back to the club line, but we're still getting black ones here. Again, prime number, nice shape on the clubs. The 2, getting down to the low numbers there. It looks like we kind of had our spades going up in this deck, but the clubs seem to be declining. Let's see what we get to next. Oh, here we are, continuing with the spades a bit. So we somehow skipped over in the clubs, and we're right back to the spades in nice ascending order here. I like this one. You kind of have to find somewhere a little asymmetrical to put the spade. The value of this, I don't know, at a PSA 10 is probably about 35 cents if you just took the cost of the pack and divided it by 52. The 8 here, we're back to some nice symmetry. In terms of the middle, we've got both an up and down, but you obviously still have to pick either 2 up and 4 down or vice versa. The 8s themselves, you could easily write in a way that would be symmetrical, if you can kind of see here, but we've got a little bit of a snowman effect to the 8, and these are often, if you've got pairs of these, they would be called things like pocket snowmen. So definitely a good card to have in your collection. Here we've got the ace of clubs, a little less ornate when compared to our spade. The spade often offering better artwork overall. These are kind of your really signature card, but the club definitely really good as well. So you can't pass that up. Getting into the higher spades now, we've got the 9 here. They're kind of jamming the spade right in the middle, which is great. This one, similar to the 6. Can be read as if it's a 6 or a 9, but again, clarity is given by the spade itself, and that's excellent. Oh, and I just kind of peeked there. I think we're going to get into some red cards in this set. That's always good to see. When they come, they're often predisposed to be in a particular order, and I think we're not only going to get into red cards, but potentially a face card looked like we were there, and those are really the ones that carry the high value in this set. And here we are. It is going to be the King of Hearts, and this artwork here, it is the Suicide King, they call it, because it's just sticking a knife in his own head like a dummy. This really looks similar to the guy that was on the bicycle earlier, but now he's stabbing himself in the head, which is an unfortunate choice. I forget who this was intended to represent. A lot of the times the kings are meant to be great kings from the past. I think this one was like Charles or Charlemagne. They were unclear on that, but it's definitely one of those for sure. But that's a great one, and I think we'll put that one away to sleeve a little later on. And we're back to the 10 of spades, so our king jumping out of nowhere to hop in the middle of this. Then we get to the jacks. This one with a little mustache. Apparently, this was originally an error in the cards as they were transposed from the original sets in the 1700s. There was something that was meant to be kind of a mouth wrinkle or something, and in later sets it got transformed into a mustache. So this guy has a Weasley little mustache. He kind of looks like, if anyone's familiar with Agatha Christie's Poirot, he kind of could be a detective of some kind, but great to see the jack out here. And we go right into the queen. So the queen here holding kind of a wilting flower. It's a flower that used to be upright but is now kind of down and down into the side here. She looks kind of upset about it, but like not too upset, just like she's kind of trying to keep a stiff upper lip or something like that. I think the Queen of Spades is supposed to be probably some French lady. I think Rachel. I think that's her name. It was Rachel. This one, the king is holding a sword. This one is holding it in a better upright position away from his own head, which is definitely helpful. It's not that long of a sword, so it kind of strikes me as something a little gladiatorial. One of the kings, which I think may be the diamond, is intended to represent Julius Caesar, apparently. And this kind of seems like a bit of a Caesar sword, but I don't think it's the one that's actually meant to represent him. He's got a mustache here as well, and he doesn't look too happy with anything going on. But this one, definitely you can see quality pretty good. You want to have a good clean artwork, no print lines on the face of the card, and nice rounded corners here, and nice flexible plastickiness. So we're getting into the red cards now. We only had one so far, but now here we're getting into the Ace of Diamonds. Now this one I had mentioned earlier, that the diamonds are a bit of an exception in that the symbol itself is symmetrical, and that's very helpful when it comes to placing them on the card, or placing the pips. They call these pips on the card, and this indicates kind of the value of it. Ace, of course, can be 1 or 11, depending on what game you're playing, and an ideal case would be to get both of these together to create what they would call a blackjack. That would definitely give you, take the value of any card and multiply it by 1.5, which is certainly great. We get into the Two of Diamonds. This one, a relatively low value card, not something sought by a lot of collectors. You generally don't want this. They kind of call them the swans because of the shape of the two. Unless you've got 2 or 3 of these, then they're not really something that you're going to want to collect. They're much better when they come in a set, but individually these are not particularly valuable to a lot of collectors. Now here comes the Queen of Hearts here. This queen largely likes to behead people, but this time has a flower that is actually upright, indicating a lot of health, maybe youth, something like that. I think this queen is Ingrid. I'm not sure about that, but I think it's Ingrid. Either way, she likes beheading people, playing chess, and hates people named Alice. Here is the Jack of Hearts. That is probably her son or something. He kind of has a bit of a sullen look, the same sort of curly mustache. People had no way to straighten mustaches back in the 1800s, and so you see a lot of things depicted that way. He is holding kind of a stray leaf. It's hard to say why he's doing that. Behind him is a random axe. It doesn't look like he's holding the axe. It just looks like somebody's about to chop him in the head with the axe. But this one is pretty good for collectors as well, as long as you get the rest of the face cards with it. The Three of Diamonds here, again, we see the nice symmetry and straight down the line here. Don't want to mess up the artwork here, but you can see the diamond doing pretty well. These trays, they're called. You want a number of trays in order for them to be valuable. These can often take someone by surprise, but again, a lot of collectors don't really look for the 3 because it's not too valuable on its own. So unfortunately, not a seller's market on that. The 4 here, of course, usually is following the 3. Can be good when it's in succession with that. We've got nice cornering on the 4 diamonds, that they're in a nice symmetrical place, and it looks like we're pretty even top to bottom here. Those essentially could be determined to be rectangles forming another larger rectangle. So that could have some value to collectors, but again, it is a bit of a niche market. The 10 here, we are back to something that kind of has a split symmetry, but this one is pretty nice in that it divides evenly 5 and 5 up and down. The interesting thing about this is that the 10 can also be read in binary, but if you do that, it doesn't make any sense. The 5 here, excellent, good centering on this as well. It's like the 4, but just one better than that. The 6 going a bit to the sides on this. Again, we've got that upside down 9 sort of effect going on here, and a pretty good card overall. Again, kind of middling range, not something that a lot of collectors want, But there you have it. The 9, again, opposite of the 6, or upside down 6, but with more things. There's 3 more things than that, so definitely good. Now, an 8 here can definitely be really valuable, but only if you're playing games that have the word crazy in them. If you're sticking to more generic games or more popular games, then this is not going to be something that people are going to want to collect a lot of. But in games for crazy people, this definitely does have a significantly higher value. We've got the 7 of diamonds here. This one is very top heavy in some ways, or bottom heavy in others. Kind of depends on how you prefer it. I do always prefer to keep the larger value on the top here as just good luck. 7s largely are collected for their impact on luck in the future. It's very nice to have 7 3 times right in a row would be pretty good. It would beat anything below 7 that they had 3 times or less, but would lose to things that they had 3 times or more above 7. That is essentially how numbers work. We're back to the 8. This one looks a little less crazy, I think, again, just because of the symmetry of it, the uniformity of the diamonds here. It kind of forms a bit of a lattice, which is really nice in the artwork here. But again, not something that people want too much of. These were big back in the 90s, but unfortunately not so much today. They don't really have too much value, and it's really hard to go all in, even with 2 of those at your disposal. The 9 here, again, we're back to the nice symmetry up and down, trying to pretend it's a 6 sometimes, but we can figure that stuff out. The 7 here, again, this one is of hearts. Nice encouraging card, lucky card, and a very lovely card here. Some people that do prefer the heart design. It's nice and smooth compared to some of the others. The diamond can be really pointy. So if you're in the market for a red but smooth, curvy sort of card, then this is probably what you're looking for. The 10 here, definitely pretty good showing. It's the only thing in the deck that actually has a 2-digit number representing things, which works well in a base 10 system. That it would be the top of the non-face cards, they would call it. So if we were still in ancient Sumeria, there could potentially be something higher than this. Or if we use kind of a base 6 or base 8 system, then you'd probably have more digits on the previous cards. I do kind of wonder if anyone was writing these in either Roman numerals or something on earlier times. It would probably take up more space there and be a little more confusing. We get into the jack. This one is what you call a 2-eyed jack. So some games use the one-eyed jacks as special cards, but this one, I think the other jacks actually have 2 eyes. They're just positioned in such a way that you can't totally tell that that's the case. But this one is kind of looking somewhat towards camera, but he's looking a little away from it, like he's some sort of fucking cool guy. But still a pretty good card here. Here's his mom, the queen. I think this is, I don't know, maybe Marie Antoinette. Something like that, but she's looking a little sullen, looking a little sour. She's got a flower, and unlike the other 2 that were holding it by the stem upright, this one is chosen to kind of choke up on it and hold it a little closer to the top. So it's kind of not giving it the choice to wilt over or stand upright. It's just being held there. So a little more firm and harsh is this queen. And then we get to the King of Diamonds. In this one as well, he's got an axe pointed at his head that looks very similar to the Jack of Hearts that we actually saw earlier. So same type of axe is coming. And I think this one was actually the one that was intended originally to represent Julius Caesar, although, to be perfectly honest, it looks very little like him. The 6 here, we're getting back into the low values of the hearts, and I suspect that these may decline actually in value as we go. But still a nice card overall. But again, we're into the 2 down and 4 up or vice versa mode. Not something that a lot of people really seek. You kind of have to decide if you're going to add this to your collection or hang it on a wall, which way up you would want that to go, and that can be a bit of a dilemma. This is another 5. This one looks pretty good. Again, the centering pretty decent. 5 is a number between 6 and 4. It's also the number of golden rings that people get during the Days of Christmas song. Now I think this is our last king, unless we get lucky and we got more than one in the pack. This one is holding a sword again. This one seems slightly longer, and he's facing, again, more towards camera. The King of Clubs here, in its stock mode, this is still one of the more valuable cards in the set. You could probably sell this for at least $2, but if you actually got this signed by the King of Queens actor, Paul Blart, then it could be worth anywhere from $5 to $10, depending. But you'd want to get a selfie as proof that you did that. This one that you would want signed by Leah Remini. She escaped Scientology, but was also on that show. The Queen looks, again, pretty sour. She's kind of in the middle here, where a little choked up on the flower, but it's not totally wilting, but she's not just leaving it to chance, you know? So this is someone that's kind of in control, but doesn't want to just leave things on a whim. So that's a pretty good find right here, and it's nice to see the King and Queen right there back to back. And I think we're getting down to the tail end of it here, but we've got the 4 of Hearts. That one, definitely a serviceable card, but not something that a lot of people really set out for. I think the next, the 3 here, this is kind of one of your starters. So right at the beginning, you want to be playing with the 3. A lot of people kind of try and level this up or just have fond memories of a 3 from childhood. The 3 is kind of one of the numbers that is easiest for toddlers to hold up on their hand. So I think there's a small bit of like affection or nostalgia for a 3, that you can't disregard, but it's not exceptionally rare. So you wouldn't want to pay too much for that. The Jack here, I think we have our last Jack. This guy has shaved. He either shaved or he's just incapable of growing a mustache, which would be a little more embarrassing. I think he tells people that he tries to stay clean shaven and really appreciates that sort of day-to-day upkeep, but I think in reality he just kind of has it come in really patchy, or it just doesn't really fill in, so he just shaves it off to kind of save face a little bit. We're getting down. We've only got, I think, a couple of cards left. Yeah, I think there's only one behind this, but we've got kind of disappointing one at the end here. This is kind of supposed to be your rare, but we've got a 2 of Hearts. That is a little bit disappointing in this pack. Ideally, you would have seen a second Ace of Spades or maybe a 3rd or 4th Joker in terms of getting value of the deck. But I guess in order to complete the base set, you do want to still have the 2 of Hearts. It would be an odd one to have missing, but pretty good. And I think we may be lucky on the last one here. We'll see. But the hope is that you would round it out with another ace. And I'm not sure. Yes, that is excellent. We've got another ace in the deck, and this one is the Ace of Hearts. That is a nice standout. Again, not quite the same flourish as you get with the Ace of Spades, which we got early on. As you can see, the heart is just kind of the Ace of Spades, but without an extra stick. So it's kind of a freestanding form, as opposed to the Spade, which can kind of stand on its own there. The ace has been a controversial one over time. The ace used to just represent one, but as the game devs looked more and more into it, they thought that this could actually be the highest value in the deck instead. And the thing that prompted that seems to have been the French Revolution, that it was determined that the lowliest ace could in fact overthrow and behead a king and kill his wife and stuff like that because she kept taunting them about cake. So excellent to round things out here. Overall, I'm pretty good with this. I think our highest value one, I think, is definitely the Ace of Spades here. And I've always had a place in my heart for the King of Hearts. So pretty good haul here overall. Again, this was the bicycle set here. As you can see, kind of the backs of the cards, which I didn't really show earlier. We've got two weird little things that have been on the back of bicycle cards for like 30 years or something, probably more than that. Makes no sense in the world, but they're there. And then there's weird ghost children on the corners of these. But a good quality set, a good purchase here. You can get these usually at auction about $4, something like that. Depending if you buy in bulk, you can often get them a little less than that, but definitely a serviceable set. I do, for my own use, prefer Ken cards, but pretty good here for the bicycle. And we got to be happy with the pulls that we got in this deck. And you know, I wish anyone else that's pulling other similar things the best of luck. I hope you get Dark Charizards and things like that. But I'll stick with my aces for now. Have a good one.